Welcome everybody. Today is a very important day, the birthday celebration of Swami Adhbhutanandaji Maharaj, a miracle monk, a mystic monk, a monk whose pure-heartedness is a matter of great discussion in the Ramakrishna order in the spiritual world. So today's program is like this. We'll start with the Arati, Khandana Bhava Vandana, and then Swami Udaranandaji Maharaj ji will talk and introduce the topic, and then we will have a Ramakrishna song, which is basically dedicated to the 16 direct disciples, how they are different flowers in the garden of Sri Ramakrishna, their special attributes. You like that song, and we will also try to present the visuals for that song. And thereafter, we will have the lecture, which is much awaited by a very senior monk of the order, very celebrated monk who has researched on Adbhutanandaji very widely. So now, please give me 30 seconds to play the Arati, Khandana Bhavavandana, which is written and composed by Swami Vivekananda himself. So please wait for the Arati. Swami Udaranandaji Maharaj will himself perform the Arati, the Vesper services, on this auspicious day of the birthday of Swami Adhbhutanandaji Maharaj, Latu Maharaj, one of the 16 direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. just ended the Arati. So as we were telling, today is a very, very important day, the birthday celebration of Adbhut monk, the miracle monk, the mystic monk, Latu Maharaj, Adhbhutanandaji Maharaj ji. Now, our spiritual advisor and minister in charge, Udaranandaji Maharaj ji, will speak a few words about Adhbhutanandaji Maharaj and will introduce the topic for all of us. Maharaj ji, one request, your full face is not coming. So kindly come the full frame. Yes, now it is perfect. Absolutely fine, Maharaj ji. So you can kindly start, Maharaj ji.
Om Sthapakaya च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतार वरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः जननीं शारदां देवी रामकृष्ण जगद्गुरु पादपद्मे तयो श्रित्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः नमः श्री यतिराजाय विवेकानंद सूरये सच्चे सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामी नेतापहारिणे कालिंदे फुल्लकमले माधवेन क्रीडारत ब्रह्मानंद नमस्तुभ्यं सद्गुरु लोकनायकं गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देव महेश्वर गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधेतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति 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 हरि ओम। Thank you, Nirmala. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I, on behalf of Ramakrishna Vedanta Society, Philippines, welcome you all for today's celebration. Thank you especially to LC for joining, in spite of the whole day. Today is a weekday, so whole day after working, joining at this time, it requires some amount of determination. So I thank you all for kindly joining this celebration. So today we are here to celebrate Tithi Puja of Latu Maharaj, one of the direct disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. As you may not know, the name Adbhutananda means Adbhut means wonderful, something wondrous, something to be very surprised. His name was given somehow. He got the name. It was not specifically planned for him, but the name and his character, everything matches. Adbhut, because he was a unique creation of Sri Ramakrishna. It was one of the miracles that Sri Ramakrishna presented before the world. Why so? Why do we? Adbhutananda's name was given, but he was really Adbhut. In what way he was Adbhut? You see, I will just give a short introduction and some small descriptions, because later on we are going to hear this in details from a very, very eminent monk who has written many, many books, and especially one book, of entire book on Swami Adhbhutananda also. So Adbhutanandaji was born in Chhapra, but when he was born, there is no record, because he was an orphan boy and he came to Kolkata in search of job. So since he last days, as we were discussing before this class, he passed in Varanasi. So there was a room, and he was a very ardent devotee of Mahavira, Hanuman. So that Belur dedicated, after his passing away, Mahapurush Maharaj dedicated one room where he stayed to enshrine it in his name and that shrine of Hanuman. So on that day, they declared that henceforth this day will be celebrated as Tithi Puja, or birthday of Swami Adhbhutanandaji. So we gave him a date, which actually because there was no record of when he was born. That is part one. And then part two is, when they came to Calcutta, Ram Babu, a devotee of Sri Ramakrishna, used to visit him. So that boy was working with Ram Babu, Ram Datta, as a household help, going for marketing and doing so many works. So he used to accompany Ram Datta when he used to come to Sri Ramakrishna. Seeing the boy, Sri Ramakrishna immediately recognized that this boy is highly spiritual, this boy is not ordinary. You see, he is an illiterate boy coming as a household help. But even then, he could recognize the greatness of uniqueness of the boy from the first eyesight when he laid on that boy. He decided, no, this is a very great soul, and he is not an ordinary boy. And later on, it happened that eventually Latu Maharaj, as we call him, Latu also lost all interest in working with Ram Datta and wanted to pass his entire rest of his life with Sri Ramakrishna. So, and Sri Ramakrishna also greatly accepted him as a disciple. So, as we always do when we discuss the life of disciple, we discuss the life in context with Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda, and Holy Mother Ma Sharada. So, two incidents I will tell from Sri Ramakrishna. Latu Maharaj was one day we found Latu Maharaj was sleeping. Sri Ramakrishna came and said, "Have you come here to sleep? You have to do sadhana. What are you doing? You are wasting away your life like this." So from that day onward, believe it or not, Latu Maharaj never ever slept in the night. His entire life, because Guru has said so. You see, how many of us can follow something like this? He used to sleep little bit in the daytime, but he made it a habit that henceforth I will never ever sleep in night. So always he will meditate, meditate, do japam and meditation, japam, and rest of his life he continued that. That is the devotion to Sri Ramakrishna. Another thing, there is a very important that whenever he was there, first thing that he would like to see is face of Sri Ramakrishna. That is also faith in Guru. He will not start his day without looking at Sri Ramakrishna. Now coming to Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda, when he started the mart, Latu Maharaj did not like it because he made so many rules that you have to get up at this time, you have to do this, you have to do that. Latu Maharaj did not like. He said, I cannot follow your this kind of a routine. It is very difficult for me. And if you do not like, I will go. But then Swamiji said, no, 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 no. You don't have to go. You don't have to follow. Be what you are. You live life as you want. We do not want to force anything on you. So Swamiji had a special consideration for Latu. And interestingly, Latu Maharaj was one of the few chosen people who had access to Holy Mother. Because Holy Mother was working in Nahabad, she wanted some help to help her to cook and to make chapatis and things like that. Latu Maharaj was one of the person whom Holy Mother allowed to visit. Holy Mother was so shy, she will never come out in front of others. But only few men or boys could go to her. Latu Maharaj was one of them, that he has an access. So one very interesting today in our WhatsApp university, it was again and again rotated. One incident mentioned in Kashi. Varanasi is known as abode of Lord Shiva. One day Latu Maharaj was going to worship Lord Shiva with Bilva Patra and things, all puja articles, they were going in, some few other devotees were there. They were going to worship Lord Shiva. Suddenly he had a change of mind because during that time Holy Mother was staying in Kashi, Varanasi. So from there, instead of going to Lord Shiva, Kashi Vishwanath temple, he turned and went straight to Holy Mother, and all the articles, that puja articles that were meant to worship Shiva, he worshipped Holy Mother with it. His devotion while Holy Mother was alive, so vivid, so strong, there is no parallel to be found anywhere. Swami Vivekananda had that kind of devotion and faith, and it was also Latu Maharaj. In fact, we see this intrinsic faith in all the disciples and the tenacity to pursue. It is not that they could have led a very relaxed life that today, okay, we have been graced by Holy Mother, we have been graced by the Lord Himself, Sri Ramakrishna. But in spite of that, in spite of everything, they had dedicated their life in pursuit, with tenaciously pursuing japa, meditation, and leading a spiritual life. So he worshipped Holy Mother, and Holy Mother also blessed him. And you see, he is my special child. He is my special child. So with these 2-3 incidents, I will stop because now there, as Mr. Ganguly was telling, awaited a surprise because we have invited somebody to speak who is, I feel, one of the best person who can do justice to this particular subject about all the direct disciples. So without much ado, now I will request Mr. Ganguly to carry on the program. I thank you all once again for coming and joining this program. And I'm sure when you leave, you will be having many takeaways with you. Many takeaways. Huh? You have to hear and listen and just put it there, record it in your mind. Then one day when need will come, it will come out. You don't have to worry whether I will remember this or not. I can assure you, just try to hear whatever is going on, and you may not know the significance of what you heard today, but tomorrow or day after tomorrow, surely the meaning will come full and it will give you a direction that you are seeking in life. Thank you once again. Thank you very much. Jai Shri Ramakrishna.
Jai Sri Ramakrishna, and thank you very much, Udayanandaji Maharaj, for your brief introduction about Swami Adhbhutanandaji Maharaj, Latu Maharaj, the miracle monk, the mystic monk, the monk who epitomized simplicity. Before I forget, I would like to also remind you that the coming Sunday we have a lecture by Swami Shiva Kantanandaji Maharaj from Ramakrishna Mission, Mysuru, Karnataka, India. The lecture will start at 3:00 p.m. India time, which is 5:30 p.m. Philippine, Hong Kong, Singapore time. And the topic is very, very interesting and important: Vedanta for salvation and service. And now we will, before we start the talk by the eminent Swami, we will want you to hear a song which is devoted to the 16 direct disciples. We will try to present a video presentation. Please wait for that. We are doing the video presentation of the song.
কত রঙের ফুল ফুটেছে তোমার বাগানেতে ঠাকুর, কত রঙের ফুল ফুটেছে তোমার বাগানেতে ঠাকুর, সেই ফুল দিয়ে মালা গেঁথে পরেছ কণ্ঠেতে, সেই ফুল দিয়ে মালা গেঁথে পরেছ কণ্ঠেতে, কত রঙের ফুল ফুটেছে তোমার বাগানেতে ঠাকুর। আহা কি বা শোভা তোমার রূপটি চমৎকার, আহা কি বা শোভা তোমার রূপটি চমৎকার, নরেন রাখাল তারক শশী বলবো কত আর, নরেন রাখাল তারক শশী বলবো কত আর, নইলে এমন মালা খানি সাজবে কেমনেতে, নইলে এমন মালা খানি সাজবে কেমনেতে, কত রঙের ফুল ফুটেছে তোমার বাগানেতে ঠাকুর। বসে আছো নিজের ঘরে কত যে ফুল পায়ে ঝরে, বসে আছো নিজের ঘরে কত যে ফুল পায়ে ঝরে, নানা কথা কইছ পরশ করছ যে প্রাণেতে, নানা কথা কইছ পরশ করছ যে প্রাণেতে, এমন বাগানের মালিকে কতই ভালোবাসি, এমন বাগানের মালিকে কতই ভালোবাসি, বারে বারে ঘুরে ফিরে চরণ তলে আসি, বারে বারে ঘুরে ফিরে চরণ তলে আসি, আশায় আসি দেখতে পাবো দক্ষিণেশ্বর এতে আমি, আশায় আসি দেখতে পাবো দক্ষিণেশ্বর এতে, কত রঙের ফুল ফুটেছে, কত রঙের ফুল ফুটেছে, কত রঙের ফুল ফুটেছে তোমার বাগানেতে ঠাকুর, কত রঙের ফুল ফুটেছে তোমার বাগানেতে ঠাকুর, সে ফুল দিয়ে মালা গেঁথে পরেছ কণ্ঠেতে, কত রঙের ফুল ফুটেছে তোমার বাগানেতে ঠাকুর।
what a beautiful song. This song depicts the 16 beautiful flowers in the garden of Sri Ramakrishna. These 16 flowers are the creation of Sri Ramakrishna himself, showing different kinds of attributes. And so now we will have very soon the lecture uh, by the Swami, who is so well known, on Swami Adhbhutanandaji, the mystic monk. Uh, uh, so now I will unfold the surprise. So on our request, Swami Chetananandaji Maharaj ji had agreed to give a talk for us on this very, very important topic. Swami Chetananandaji has written a book on Adhbhutanandaji himself, and he has written lots of books, and he is such a senior monk. I'll try to mention some of his books that he has written. Please wait for the same. He has written various books, in fact, and all of them are very well known to the Ramakrishna readers, the people who belong to the Ramakrishna thinking. These books are Sri Ramakrishna, A Divine Life in Pictures, See God with Open Eyes, Sri Sharada Devi and her Sri Sharada Devi and her Divine Play, Sri Ramakrishna and the Divine Play, Vivekananda East and the West, Swami Vivekananda on Vedanta, and they lived with God. Then another book is Ramakrishna as we saw him. He also authored God Lived with Them, and another book, How to Live with God, and a guide to spiritual life on Swami Brahmanandaji, Spiritual Treasures, and the book on which we are discussing today, that is Have a Shepherd Boy, How a Shepherd Boy Became a Saint. So now we are so grateful to Swami Chetananadaji Maharaj ji to speak to us. So he will start his lecture right now. I think you will get many takeaways, and you will love this lecture. We are playing the lecture now. Please wait for the same.
स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतार वरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः. I bow down to Sri Ramakrishna, who came to establish the eternal religion, universal religion, who was the embodiment of all religions, and who was the foremost among all avatars. I bow down to him again and again. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. I have been asked to speak about Swami Adhbhutananda, Latu Maharaj, by Swami Udarananda, head of the Ramakrishna Vedanta Society, Manila, Philippines. His birthday is on the 16th of February of this month. Actually, we do not know when he was born, but we just put a date so that we can observe his birthday. Swami Adhbhutananda's life is very interesting, inspiring. intriguing. He was a real mystic. A real mystic is always communed with God and God consciousness. I was very fascinated when I read his Shatkatha when I was in school, in college. Such simplicity, natural openness, such renunciation, such purity are remarkable. Sri Ramakrishna wanted to demonstrate to this modern world without education, completely no education, a person can be knower of Brahman. Sri Ramakrishna demonstrated that through Latu Maharaj. Swami Vivekananda made a remark that he was Sri Ramakrishna's greatest miracle. When we read Latu Maharaj's life and teachings and reminiscences, we get inspiration. They touch our hearts. I remember when I was in Hollywood, Swami Prabhupanandaji asked me, each direct disciple should have a biography. And that biography should not be more than 200 pages. And that biography should have three things. First, his life. Second, his teachings. And third, reminiscences. So when I left Hollywood, I was, of course, working on that book. Swami Adhbhutananda, How a Shepherd Boy Became a Saint. That was the model. I started to work on the disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. Anyhow, he was born in Chapra district in Bihar. His parents died when he was very young. He was raised by his uncle. When he was in early teens, 11, 12 years old, he and his uncle came to Calcutta. They knew one of their neighbors was working in Calcutta Medical College. They came to Calcutta for a job. So, this friend of his uncle knew Ramchandra Datta, who was a householder disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. So find this teenager boy, Ramdatta hired him as a servant. He used to look after Ram's children. He used to go for shopping, buying groceries, cleaning. This kind of servant's job he got in Ramdatta's house in Calcutta. It was in 1879. Ramdatta first came in contact with Sri Ramakrishna. One day they were talking, so Latu, we shall call him Latu Maharaj. Latu got incurious. Sir, will you take me to Sri Ramakrishna? So Ramchandra fulfilled his request and went to Dakshineshwar. Seeing him, Sri Ramakrishna says, Ram, where did you get this angel? He is not an ordinary boy. You see, Ram, there is some spring is covered by a big piece of rock. When you remove the rock, the water gushes out. So this boy is a spring of spirituality. It is covered by a stone. Latu returned to Calcutta, but his mind was with Sri Ramakrishna in Dakshineswar. Latu Ramdatta quite often used to send some sweets, some fruits for the master. Latu says, "Sir, let me carry for you." So he used to carry those things to Sri Ramakrishna. And sometimes he wanted to stay in Dakshineswar. Sri Ramakrishna said, "My goodness, you are taking money and you have a job and you are serving me, you are supposed to serve Ram." "No, sir, I want to serve you." Some people say that perhaps he was an incarnation of Hanuman. Tremendous service attitude. I want to serve you. I want to love you, I want to serve you. Eventually it became impossible for him to stay in Calcutta. Sri Ramakrishna sent him back again and again. Then one day he told Ramdatta's wife, "Mother, I shall give up the job in your house. I shall stay with the master." Then Ramdatta's wife said, "Who will feed you? Who will clothe you?" "Well, I shall eat food from the temple prasad, but who will give you cloth?" "Rambabu will give me cloth." "You will not work here, and how will Rambabu give you cloth?" "Why not? He loves me." Finding his guilelessness, simplicity, Krishna Priyashi, Ramdatta's wife, was moved. So innocent. So Sri Ramakrishna asked Ram, what to do? "Sir, you ruined his life. You took him away from me. What can I do? Let him stay with you." So Latu Maharaj stayed with Sri Ramakrishna, serving him. And Sri Ramakrishna was training him. "Hey, come, let me give you some lessons. Learn the alphabet." He was teaching alphabet, Bengali alphabet. Ka, 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 ka. In Hindi, ka becomes ka. His mother tongue is Hindi. Sri Ramakrishna said, "My goodness, how can I teach you?" "Yeah, no education for you." Sri Ramakrishna did not go to school. He is educating his disciple. No education for you. One day Latu was tired, fanning Sri Ramakrishna. "Hey, Leto, do you know whether God sleeps or not?" "I do not know, sir." "God never sleeps. If God sleeps, the whole creation will be dissolved. He is wide awake and he is protecting his children all the time." That was marvelous. He was tired one evening and fell asleep. Sri Ramakrishna scolded him. "I don't need your service, you go. Have you come here to sleep?" "Sir, forgive me. I shall not sleep." 2 years Latu Maharaj fought and conquered sleep at night. When I read that story, I thought, my goodness, what is called Guru Bhakti? Devotion for the Guru. Whole life he never slept at night. He died in 1920 and came in 1980 to 20, and 20 to 40 years, no sleep at night. Amazing person. These people would see sometimes he will cover his whole body with a cloth, chadar. People knew that he is not sleeping. Daytime he will sleep a little. Amazing. That story penetrated inside me. The true willpower of what one can do in his life. Latu, barefooted, a devotee gave him a pair of sandals. And Sri Ramakrishna, that sandal he used to keep outside the veranda. And Dakshineshwar had some jackals and some wild animals are there in the jungle. One day, early in the morning, Sri Ramakrishna was in the garden, in the flower garden. And Latu made a resolution that without seeing Sri Ramakrishna's face, he will not see anybody's face. He used to sleep in the veranda. So he came to Sri Ramakrishna's room, did not find him. So he put both of his eyes on his eyes and he was shouting, "Apuni kuthai gelen? Master, where are you? Where are you?" The Thakur shouted from the garden, which is outside on the bank of the Ganges, west side of Sri Ramakrishna's room. "I am here. Sir, what are you doing?" "Well, the devotee gave you a pair of shoes. I saw only one piece of shoe is there, another piece is gone. I was thinking, but a jackal took away, so I am searching your shoes in the garden." Guru is searching disciples' shoes in the garden. "Sir, please don't do that. It would be very, very inauspicious for me. It is bad for me. Please come back, come back." When I used to read that story, I was so moved, I cannot tell. What is called love? How Sri Ramakrishna captured his disciples through love. Sometimes Sri Ramakrishna used to make some fun with his disciples. He asked Rakha, Brahmananda, "Rakha, prepare some betel roll for me." "Sir, I cannot do it." Latu Maharaj said, "My goodness, Master is asking, requesting, and you are denying. What is the matter with you? If you wish, you do it. I shall not do it." Rakha said. So both was verbal exchange was going on, and Sri Ramakrishna was smiling. Then Sri Ramakrishna was telling, in the meantime, Ramlal, Sri Ramakrishna's nephew, arrived. Thakur was telling, "Ramlal, could you see this Rakhal and Lecho, they are fighting. Among them, who has more devotion?" Ramlal says, "Rakhal has more devotion." Latu became upset. He is denying, he is not serving the Master, and he has more devotion than me. I always obey the Master. Then Thakur said, "Yes, he has more devotion because he denied me." His love is so intense that he denied me. And I saw you become angry. That is the reason you were defeated. Rakha become angry. how Sri Ramakrishna used to play with his disciples. Sir, I shall never be angry in my life. You know how these disciples obeyed their teacher. Sri Ramakrishna, I sometimes say Dakshineshwar is a lab, spiritual lab, where Sri Ramakrishna used to train his disciples. At night time, he used to give very little food. Go, you meditate in Shiva temple, you meditate in Krishna temple, you meditate in the Kali temple, you meditate in Panchavoti. He used to send his disciples. Then 2:30, 3 o'clock, they used to come back and sleep. Some would sleep on Sri Ramakrishna's floor, some on the veranda. One day, Latu was meditating on the bank of the river. It was daytime. And high tide came, half of his body underwater, but no consciousness. Then Swami Adhbhutanandaji Gopalda came, gave the news. Master ran. He pulled his disciple from the water and brought back. We have never heard such type of deep meditation. One day, Latu Maharaj was meditating in the Shiva temple. And it was last time, Latu did not come. Master is inquiring about him. Someone says that he is in Shiva temple. So Sri Ramakrishna went there, saw that Latu was perspiring. He brought a palm leaf fan from his room and asked Ramlal to bring a glass of water. So he was fanning his disciple, Latu. Then Latu slowly came back to his consciousness and asked, Master, why are you fanning? Hey boy, you are tired. You drink this glass of water. It is lunchtime, you did not eat. Come. Sri Ramakrishna said that his Kundalini awakened. He was out of this world. He was in Samadhi. One day, devotee came from Calcutta. And Latu Maharaj, he was pestering Sri Ramakrishna. So Latu Maharaj told the harsh words to him. So he left. Sri Ramakrishna heard the whole thing. Then when the devotee left, Sri Ramakrishna said, people come to me for a little peace or joy. And you use harsh words, so he left. You did not do right. You go to Calcutta and apologize. Guru's order. Next day he went to Calcutta and apologized to that half-brother devotee. He said, why you have come 5-6 miles from Dakshineshwar? Why have you come? The master sent me. Sorry, I hurt you. Please forgive me. So he came back. Then Sri Ramakrishna said, did he forgive you? Yes, sir. But did you give my salutation to him? No. Go back again. Again 6 miles. Come back. And you went. Master sent his salutation to you. That devotee burst into tears. Then Sri Ramakrishna said, when he came back, now all that misgiving, that bad karma is gone. How Sri Ramakrishna trained his disciples. You know, Swamiji had a desire that all disciples of Ramakrishna what kind of spiritual instruction they got from Thakur should be recorded. But it was not done. How Sri Ramakrishna gave spiritual instruction to each disciple should be recorded. But it was not done. So anyhow, that is the reason I worked on those books. I think we have 12 or 11 or 12 books, reminiscences of the disciples. Each disciple told reminiscences about Sri Ramakrishna. From there we got some information. So anyhow, Latu Maharaj got training. One day, Latu Maharaj was meditating in Panchavati. Thakur said, "Hey Leto, on whom you are meditating? That person is making dough in Nahova, working hard. Go, get up." Sri Ramakrishna took Latu Maharaj to Holy Mother in Nahova. He was the first disciple introduced to Holy Mother. Mother, he said to Mother, "This boy is very pure and very simple, very guileless and very direct, straight. He will make dough for you and make chapati for you and cleaning, dishwashing, shopping, whatever, this boy will do for you." Bas, Latu got passport, access to Holy Mother. Only two disciples had access, Latu Maharaj and Buddha Gopal, senior Gopal. These two persons had free access to Holy Mother, none else. So, one day, Sri Ramakrishna told a story, Jotila. It is in the Gospel of Ramakrishna. That he was the son of a poor widow. He went to his school to the teacher and teachers some ceremony and asked that every disciple should bring something to him. So he is so poor, he could not get anything. So he asked his mother. The mother said, in the forest there is a Madhusudan, Dada, another name of Krishna. So you call Madhusudan Dada will give something to you for your teacher. So he was crying in the forest, "Oh Madhusudan Dada, oh Madhusudan Dada, brother Madhusudan." So Krishna appeared. "But I have nothing to give to my teacher, please give me something." So he gave him a pot. So taking this pot, a pot of milk, give to your teacher. So he went to the teacher. He brought one pot of milk only. But sir, have this milk. So Guru emptied the pot, again the pot was full. Emptied the pot, again the pot was full. Lot of milk. Who did you get this pot? Madhusudan Dada. Madhusudan Dada, Krishna gave you? Yes. So he went to the forest. "Could you show me?" "Of course. Madhusudan Dada helps me every day when I go through the forest and come to the school." The teacher was moved. He went to Latu to the forest. And Latu was crying, Madhusudan Dada did not come. Then Latu was scared. That boy, Jotila, his name. Jotila was crying. Madhusudan did not come. Then he said, "This teacher will think that I am a liar, please." Then Madhusudan, from a distance, a voice came. "You are pure, so I appeared before you. Your teacher is not pure, so I shall not appear." Bas, teacher that. That story in the gospel, Latu Maharaj heard. Bas, at 3 o'clock in the jungle of Dakshineshwar, he was crying, "Oh Madhusudan Dada, oh Madhusudan Dada, brother Madhusudan." It was AIM recorded. AIM went and saw the young disciple of the master crying for Madhusudan. You know how we sometimes complain we are not getting any spiritual experience. This kind of people get spiritual experience. Faith in Guru. Amazing. And anyhow, Sri Ramakrishna became sick, cancer, moved to Calcutta. Latu always went there. Because he has no family, no bondage, nothing. Kashipur. From Shampukur to Kashipur. Latu is always there. So Sri Ramakrishna was lamenting. My health condition is such, I shall not be able to go to the bathroom, toilet. They will have to bring some commode in my room. Who will clean it? Sir, मैं तो मस्तूर है. I am your sweeper, sir. I shall clean the toilet. मैं तो मस्तूर है. All disciples laughed. That was just innocence, you know. How much love he had for his Guru. Sri Ramakrishna passed away 16th August 1886. His body was cremated in Kashipur cremation ground. Latu went there. If you read his reminiscences, what a vivid account he described. When the funeral pyre was burning, Swami Maharaj, Swami Ramakrishna was fanning the funeral pyre. Then he put all ashes into a copper rod carriage to Kashipur, put on Sri Ramakrishna's bed, and continued to worship as Sri Ramakrishna was leaving. Then Holy Mother left for pilgrimage for 1 year. Latu went with Holy Mother. Then in Vrindavan he stayed a few months. Then he came to Calcutta, most probably January or February 1887. Then Swamiji said, "Hey, Latu, we have all taken monastic vows. You will have to take monastic vows." But before these monastic vows, Thakur gave him a ochre cloth and a rosary in Kashipur. As you remember, the 12 disciples got rosaries, 11 monastic and 1 Girish. So this Latu Maharaj's, this ochre cloth which Thakur gave and the rosary, I found in Benares. In 1977, when I was traveling, I took those pictures of that thing. I showed it in my book. This cloth and this rosary Sri Ramakrishna gave to Latu Maharaj. Amazing. So Swami, he agreed, yes, I shall take monastic vows. Swamiji conducted the home fire and gave him a name, Adhbutananda. Adbhuta means Adbhuta, sometimes wonder. Sometimes a strange word, sometimes has not a good connotation in English. Strange. Adbhut, miraculous. phenomenal. That way we understand Adbhutananda. Everything is Adbhut. Then in the Baranagar monastery, the disciples are debating that, hey, Thakur loved me. Others they say, Thakur loved me more than you. In this way they have a fight, that who got maximum love for the master. The Latu Maharaj made a comment, my goodness, you boys, Latu Maharaj actually older than most of them, and Latu Maharaj was the first disciple of Sri Ramakrishna who came to Thakur among the monasteries.
1879.
From 1979, 80.
1880.
Sorry, 1879, 80. So what happened? He said, brothers, let me tell you, the master did not leave any money or real estate or a property. If he would leave these things, you boys would fight for that. And all burst into laughter. But you will fight. My guru's property I shall get. So you would have legal battle. I'm glad master did not leave any worldly possessions. Master did not leave any worldly possessions. Aim quite often used to say, Pitar Oishajya Putre Pai. The father's wealth is inherited by his children. So Sri Ramakrishna's spiritual wealth, the disciples inherited. That is a beautiful way to understand. So one day he saw Swami Chetanananda was reading books, philosophy and this and that, scripture. Latu Maharaj made a comment, hey Sharo, have you come here to read? Is there any examination that you are going to appear? Brother, we all have to read. But master did not read. You boys are reading books in the monastery. What is the matter with you? Thakur did not read any books. Brother, Sharat Maharaj said, his case is different. It is the Divine Mother supplied. The Divine Mother supplied all of his wisdom. But Sharat Maharaj replied, but master said, those who want to teach others, they will need some book knowledge and scriptural knowledge. Then Latu Maharaj said, well, you boys do whatever you want to. He was telling how people understand spirituality. Latu Maharaj went for pilgrimage, Puri. Seldom away. He prayed two things from Jagannath. Lord, I have two prayers, please fulfill. First prayer is, whatever I eat, let it be digested. There should not be any stomach problem. And second, may I not travel too much, may we stay in one place. Later some disciples, their devotees asked, Maharaj, why did you pray those things to Lord Krishna, Lord Jagannath? Listen, I am a monk. I live on alms. I go to the devotee's house, whatever they give, I eat. But if I cannot digest that food, if I have a stomach problem, then I cannot concentrate. So I prayed for the power of digestion. And another prayer is, you boys are traveling, this and that, it needs money. But I do not ask money from anybody. So let me stay in one place. So that I not to beg money from the devotees that I want to go for pilgrimage. So in Calcutta, sometimes he used to meditate on the bank of the Ganges. When there was a rain in the Calcutta, you have not seen that area. They call it that port railway, railway wagon carries the goods and they put into the ship in the boat. So some empty wagon, when there is rain, used to sleep there. And one day he found he has taken to Chitpur yard. Then again he came back to his place. Another day he was meditating. Some people brought corn, hay for the cows. The boat anchored on the Ganges Ghat. So he went on the top of the hay. He was meditating. So the boatman came and found they want to unload it. They found a holy man was meditating. He was very strange. And sometimes he used to go later, he used to meditate, he used to stay in Boshumati printing house. Upendranath Mukherjee, Sri Ramakrishna's disciple, who preached Sri Ramakrishna for money, and Sri Ramakrishna blessed him. He will be very rich. So in 166 Bowbazar Street, I used to go there to buy books. He's very famous. He became very rich. Lot of publications. He has scripture, then daily newspaper, quarterly newspaper, annual newspaper, weekly newspaper. He has all kinds of publications. Boshumati. I met Upen Babu's wife, who met Sri Ramakrishna in 1970 in Benares. At least I can say that I saw two persons who met Sri Ramakrishna. Ramendra Sundar Bhakti Tirtha and this Upen Babu's wife. These two persons met Sri Ramakrishna. So I met them. At least I can say. So Upen Babu, time to time, used to give some money to buy food, and he used to stay there and meditate. Strange. Then when Swami Vivekananda came in 1897 to India and just started Ramakrishna Mission, Latu Maharaj opposed. Brother, why did you bring these activities? Master, it is not, Sri Ramakrishna said, first realize God, which is not necessary for this work and activities. Swamiji scolded him right and left. You are a dumbbell, you are stupid, you have no. So, it is not for you, it is for the future generation. They will need some work, this and that, anyhow. They always remember, I wrote a long article that two disciples opposed Swamiji, Yogananda and Adhbutananda, against Ramakrishna Mission. And aim did not approve. Otherwise, everybody approved. I wrote a long article on that. Anyhow, then Latu Maharaj later on was convinced what Swamiji said. Then Latu Maharaj went for pilgrimage with Swamiji. Went to Kashmir. What happened in Kashmir? In Kashmir, you can hire a boat. One side of that boat, that Muslim boatman and his family live, other side they rent. And they will take you any place in the lake, Dal Lake. So, seeing the women in the boat, Latu Maharaj said, I am not going to stay here. Swamiji said, my goodness, I am going to stay, I will be here, don't worry. Latu Maharaj stayed. Then another day, what happened? Swamiji asked the young daughter of the boatman, give this betel roll to that holy man. He saw that the young girl is bringing betel roll. He jumped from the boat into the water. And he does not know how to swim. He jumped into the water. Then Swamiji, I could not understand that it would go so far. Swamiji rushed and they, with the help of the boatman, lifted him up from the water. It was so hilarious. Then he understood Swamiji was making some practical joke with him. I shall tell you one story which I heard from Swami. I shall tell two stories right now by Swami Vivekananda, who was in charge of Argentina Center. In 1968, he came to Advaita Ashrama and told this story, and I recorded it. It is in my book. Vivekananda, at that time, Swamiji, Latu Maharaj was in Banaras. Latu Maharaj did not stay in the ashram because his routine is unpredictable. Sometimes may eat at 10 o'clock, sometimes 3 o'clock in the morning, sometimes no food. What he will do, nobody knows. But his attendants should always watch him, that when he's up, we shall have to feed him. He could not stay in the ashram. Ashram has a routine. So what happened? One day, Pashupati Maharaj, Vijayananda went and said, Maharaj, how are you? I'm all right. So Vijayanandaji says, Maharaj, Latu Maharaj said, Vijayananda, hey Pashupati, তুই Vishwanath darshan korte যাস? Hello Pashupati, do you go and visit Vishwanath, Lord Shiva? No Maharaj, Vishwanath is all right with you, it is a piece of a stone. I do not go there. What? Vishwanath is a piece of a stone. Yes, Maharaj. To you is God. To me it is a piece of a stone. তুই গঙ্গা স্নান করিস? Do you bathe in the Ganges in Banaras? No, Maharaj. Ganges water is muddy water, unclean. তুমি হাসপাতালে জলে স্নান করো? You bathe in hospital water. Swami Latu Maharaj is not like Ramakrishna Mission Hospital. But you bathe in clean water of the hospital. Yes, Maharaj. Latu Maharaj became very grave. He did not say anything. After a couple of days, Swami Vijayananda, Swami Mukundananda, another three, they're friends. They went to Banaras, Ganges Ghat, and they're watching the sunset. All of a sudden, he saw like a fog rising from the Ganges and took the form of the Shiva and then disappeared, melted in the sky. He saw, and then he was shivering. Then his friend grabbed him. He did not say what happened. Then while returning to the ashram, they said, Vijayananda said, let us go and visit Latu Maharaj. He came to Latu Maharaj, he was lying down, covering his body with a chadar, cloth. Hey Pashupati, ki dekhili? Hello Pashupati, what have you seen? Maharaj, it is your grace. Hare beta, hamara grace kuch nahi hai, wo Vishwanath ji ka grace hai. It is not my grace, it is the Vishwanath Lord Shiva's grace. Now Vishwanath darshan korte jabi to? Now will you go to see Vishwanath? Yes, Maharaj. Ganga Snan bhi korelis. First bathe in the Ganges. First bathe in the Ganges. That's a story he told me. Another story told that Latu Maharaj was with Swamiji in Lahore, in Punjab. There Swamiji gave a famous lecture on Vedanta. Swamiji said, "Hey Latu, you will have to go with me." "Brother, I shall not go with you." তুমি তো আংরেজিতে বলবে, আমি তো আংরেজি জানি না। You will speak in English. I do not know English. No, you will have to go with me. Are you not my brother? Oh, to ठीक बात है. That is all right, I am your brother, but no, you will have to go with me. Then Latu Maharaj said, भाई, हमारा तो silk and dress तो नहीं है. And I do not have silk gown as you have. I do not have good dress. So Swamiji went and brought one of his dresses and put around him. But Swamiji Tamacho Lomba, when Swamiji was taller than me, the dress went down below my feet. Then Swamiji lifted my cloth up and tied around my waist so that it can fit, you know. Then I said, "Bhai, हमारा तो पुगड़ी नहीं है. I do not have turban." So Swamiji made a turban on my head. Then again I went to Swamiji. I said, "Swamiji, I shall not go." Well, why? That we white English people, white American English people will go with you. I shall not go with you. No, you will have to go with me. But by then I shall sit on the coachman on the top. In the horse carriage, did you see coachman sits on the top? I shall sit on with the coachman. But no, you will have to sit with me. So Swamiji went. Then Swamiji gave a lecture in Lahore. Swamiji the Vedanta Keshwari ছিলেন জানিস তো? Swamiji was a roaring lion of Vedanta. He was lecturing. And he was so fired. He hit on the table and some flower vases fell down. Then after the lecture, Swamiji, that lecture, I think 2-3 hours lecture, long lecture, Vedanta, which is in Complete was volume 3. Then Swamiji came back. But Leto, could you understand my lecture? I understood your lecture. You did not say anything new. What do you mean? What Buddha, Shankara, Master said, you reiterated their words. You did not say. Swamiji said, you are the only person who has understood my lecture. He did not say anything. In this connection, I remember a story of Mark Twain. Mark Twain went to a church and listened to the sermon and told the pastor, the minister, "You gave the sermon, but you did not say a single word original. Everything you borrowed." The minister became mad. "What? I worked hard and prepared this new sermon, and you were criticizing me that I did not say anything new?" But exactly. I can prove it. I shall send a book to you from where every word you took everything from them, from that book. Next day, Mark Twain sent an unabridged Webster dictionary to the minister. Whatever you said, every word is in that dictionary. Funny. I still remember that story. Then Swamiji made the rules in Belluva. That everybody will have to do exercise, dumbbell, barbell. Latu Maharaj went to him, brother, in this old age, no more dumbbell, barbell. I cannot do it. All right. Then Swamiji made a rule that every monk will have to get up at 4 o'clock after wash, come to the shrine and meditate. Latu Maharaj packed his clothes and about to leave the monastery. Where are you going? Brother, you might have a wonderful mind that your mind will say, 4 o'clock, meditate. My mind does not go that way. I cannot follow those rules. That, hey mind, you meditate at 4 o'clock. My mind doesn't go that way. All right, you leave. Then, when he was leaving, Swamiji called him back. Come back. Stay. This rule is not for you. How Swamiji fixed it. That man is meditating all the time. At 4 o'clock you will have to sit. You know, that is the beauty of the Ramakrishna order. Tremendous freedom. No regimentation. In the Catholic monastery, all these things are very regimented. Rules. No. There are some exceptions are there. This story I heard from Swami Dhireshanandaji. It is in the book. Latu Maharaj went to hear a lecture. A class on the Katha Upanishad. The last verse of the Katha Upanishad, Yama said, Ongushto Matra Purusha. The size of the Atman is less like a thumb, which is inside the heart of each human being. But those who are knower of Brahman, they know how to separate that Atman from the body. Like a stalk from the blade of grass. I wrote down this Purusha or the Atman dwells in the hearts of human beings. Let a man separate him from the body as one separates the tender stalk from a blade of grass. But you will learn how to separate the Atman from the body. The knower of Brahman knows it. Latu Maharaj, zero education, doesn't know Sanskrit at all. And that Punjit is explaining the Sanskrit. And Swami Shuddhananda, Sudhir Maharaj was with him. Hey Sudhir, Punjit thik boleche. Hey Sudhir, this Punjit said the right thing. Again, Sudhir, Punjit thik boleche. Again, Sudhir, Punjit thik boleche. In the class, he started to shout and tell the Sudhir. Sudhir Maharaj said, Maharaj, let us go now back. Came to the ashram, came to Balaram Mandir. At night time to time, he got up and said, hey Sudhir, that Punjit said the right thing. He's comparing his own experience, that how to separate the Atman from the body. This is the sign of a real mistake. Sometimes if people are depressed, I tell them, read the teachings of Latu Maharaj. That how a shepherd boy became a saint. Read his teachings portion. Somebody came and said, I have lost. Lost? Carry a picture of Sri Ramakrishna in your pocket. When lust comes, watch his eyes, his face. Your lust will disappear. A couple of things I shall tell about Latu Maharaj's the way he taught. Maharaj, how to serve God. Then he says, there is a garden. A rich man has a garden, has an orchard. In that orchard, two gardeners. One gardener used to do his duties. Another gardener one day found a ripe papaya in a tree. He picked it up because otherwise the birds will peck and it will fall and it will be rotten. He was telling that when you are worshipping God's thing you are giving to God. That he was telling. So, when the owner of the garden came during weekend, this gardener brought this papaya and gave to him. Master, this is a ripe papaya I got in the tree. Please take it. Now the owner of the garden knows this garden is mine, this papaya tree is mine, this papaya is mine, belongs to me, and this servant is my paid servant. So he gave my papaya to me. No. There is something extra going with papaya. It's thoughtfulness and love. That person will say, I do not care, I get my salary, let the papaya be destroyed in the tree. No. Your thoughtfulness and your love for the master, that is the most important thing in a spiritual life. And second story also, it moves me. Some people say, oh, so much responsibility, I feel so heavy. Family, especially those who are householders, wife, children, job, this, that. If you feel heaviness on your shoulder, Latu Maharaj told them, do you know why? If I ask you carry 2 buckets of water and put it in the garden, you will say, oof, so heavy, I cannot carry. So heavy, I cannot carry. But when you go to the swimming pool or a pond, you dive below, perhaps 100 buckets of water above your head, but you do not feel that heaviness. You do not feel that heaviness. 100 buckets water on you above your head in your swimming pool or in the pond. Similarly, he says, if you take God in your life and live in God consciousness, you will never feel that burden on your shoulder. Life will be very smooth. Maharaj, tell us, we have not seen God. You are asking that God, serve God and love God. We have never seen God. You are asking us to see God, love God. Latu Maharaj said, you want a job? Yes. What do? You write all your biodata, all of your experiences, everything you send to the owner of the company. And they have a personnel, they will hire, they will interview. You will not see the owner. His people will interview you, will find that you say that I have these qualifications, I have this experience, please hire me, I want to serve you. That is the way you get a job. Correct? Yes. Similarly, write an application to Sri Ramakrishna or God that these are my qualifications. I have devotion, I have love, I have faith, I have sincerity, I have purity, all these things. That is your qualifications. You write down and put it to God. Then you see, the moment you get a job, perhaps you do not know the owner. One day the owner will come to check. The manager will show the owner all departments, CEO, and then, sir, this is the accountant we recently hired. He is a very good accountant we hired for our company. So the owner will see you and you will see the owner. But you got to see the owner after you got the job. But before that, you did not see the owner. Before job, you only heard the name of the owner, but you have never seen him. You know, the way he talked, this illiterate, you ever 100% illiterate, only Thakur says, Vedanta will burst forth from your lips. People marvel that why did you get such wisdom? Guru's grace. Sri Ramakrishna demonstrated. Here is my disciple, no education, no a Brahman, a great teacher. We are really indebted to Chandrasekhar Chattopadhyay, who recorded his reminiscences, a big volume. Marvelous book. Anyhow, I told you, oh my goodness, I passed more than an hour. Sri Ramakrishna told him, look, Leto, here God exists. Do not forget him. How can I forget someone who loves me so much? Sri Ramakrishna's love. Made him a saint. Grace of Guru. Vasatoma sadgamayo, tamasoma jyotirgamayo, mritkurma amritam gamayo, avirabhirma yedhi, rudrajatya dakshinamukam, tenapam pahi nityam, om shanti, shanti, shanti. Lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, lead us from death to immortality, light us through and through, and guide us evermore with thy loving presence. Peace, 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 tranquility.
We are indeed mesmerized, wonderstruck. Hiranya kept telling in many of our lectures, about Leela Prasanga, that is where we get to know about how Thakur and Holy Mother and Swamiji actually acted in their personal life, what actually happened. And these Leela Prasanga through Chetananandaji, it was actualized today. We are indeed mesmerized. So we have recorded the whole lecture, and it is of course a treasured possession of all the Ramakrishna devotees and Ramakrishna followers and people who believe in Ramakrishna thinking and Ramakrishna Bhavadhara. What a masterpiece. Only Chetananandaji, who has researched voluminously, who researched and collated data on Adbhutanandaji from all possible quarters, only he could have said. So we could hear from the horse's mouth. So now we have come to the last part of our program. Mrs. Ranjana Bhattacharya will now sing Ramakrishna Sharanan to conclude today's program. So I would now request Ranjana Di to kindly start. Ramakrishna Sharanam.
Ramakrishna Sharanam, Ramakrishna Sharanam, Ramakrishna Sharanam, Sharanye. Ramakrishna Sharanam, Ramakrishna Sharanam, Ramakrishna Sharanam, Sharanye. Prabhu Kripa hi kevalam, कृपा हि केवलं कृपा हि केवलं शरण्ये प्रभु कृपा हि केवलं कृपा हि केवलं कृपा हि केवलं शरण्ये राम कृष्ण शरणं राम कृष्ण शरणं राम कृष्ण शरणं शरण्ये शरणागतहं 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 शरण्ये प्रभु शरणागतहं 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 शरण्ये राम कृष्ण शरणं राम कृष्ण शरणं राम कृष्ण शरणं शरण्ये नमो श्री गुरवे नमो श्री गुरवे नमो श्री गुरवे नमो 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 श्री गुरवे नमो श्री गुरवे नमो श्री गुरवे नमो नमो राम कृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं शरण्ये रामकृष्ण रामकृष्ण जय जय रामकृष्ण 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 रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं शरण्ये मा शरदा शरणं मा शरदा शरणं मा शरदा शरणं शरण्ये स्वामीजी शरणं स्वामीजी शरणं स्वामीजी शरणं शरण्ये रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं शरण्ये जय श्री गुरु महाराज जी की जय जय महामाई की जय जय स्वामी जी महाराज जी की जय
Thank you very much, Ranjanadi, for beautiful singing of Ramakrishna Sharanam. Before we end this today's program, I would request our friend Hirna Mukhopadhyay to kindly say a vote of thanks to Revered Swami Chetananandaji Maharaj ji and Udaranandaji Maharaj ji and all those who have participated in today's today's very important celebration. Hiranya, mic is yours if you are there.
No, I am very much there. Okay. It was a wonderful lecture, but Maharaj Chetanananda Maharaj is around, or it was a recorded speech, of course. But is he participating in the our discussion today?
Baneshanandaji is here.
Yes.
But he Chetanananda time difference is such a
Yeah. No, that doesn't matter. But as I always say, on behalf of all the disciples of Ramakrishna Vedanta Society of Philippines, our disciples like Ananda, those who are not in Philippines, they are in India, and other devotees from various parts of India, abroad. On behalf of all of them, our heartfelt thanks to Maharaj, and our pranam to Maharaj, our pranam to Swami Vivekananda for organizing for such a wonderful lecture. I mean, the more I hear about Latu Maharaj's life, I sometimes wonder, what a miracle, what a miracle. Nothing else I could say. Thank you very much, Maharaj. Pranam.
With these words, we are going to end the program. But Maharajji, Udandaji, would you like to say some few sentences?
I wanted to take this opportunity to thank Revered Chetananandaji Maharaj that he has taken the trouble. You see, he is very busy with his literary work. He is always doing working on some book or the other. At present, also, he is working on some pictorial biography of Mother. But in spite of his busy schedule, that he has taken time to record a lecture for us. So we are really, really very, very grateful to him for that. So, and that is why I take this formal opportunity to thank him for his kindness and generosity. And we are really, really enjoyed every moment of it. And I think there is no other speaker who can highlight the life of Latu Maharaj more than what he has done today. So thank you, Maharaj. I take this opportunity to thank you on the behalf of all the devotees of the Philippines as well as all the other people who have joined this lecture. I thank you, Maharaj. Thank you. And thank you, Nirmalda, for taking the effort of presenting it. So we were wondering how to present this. But anyway, you found a solution. So all thanks goes to you also for your kind efforts. And thank you, Arlene. Thank you, Elsie, for joining. You may think that what is going on is not so very clear. I can understand. You see, for immediately it will take time, but I can assure you that slowly, slowly it will come to you, and you will be immensely and greatly benefited in the time of need. Because these lives that we are discussing, they will continue to inspire you all through. How an ordinary man, illiterate man, can become a saint. So what about us who are educated? You see, he was without any education, but sheer determination he could rise. And I was just talking today also with Nirmal, all these successful people, they are not even graduate, like Steve Jobs, people, so many stalwarts are there. Nobody has completed the college. And those of us who have done, how much better we can do in our lives. You see, so we have to continue to improve our lives. This is the message. So I hope you will not be disappointed by spending so much of time, but it will, in due time, it will come to you. In due time, it will come to you. So thank you all once again. Thank you very much, and thank you. Special thanks to Nirmalda for all his efforts in recording and then sending the mail. How much work it is there, you do not know. Day after day, sending mail and then record a lecture, again send that YouTube message to all. But anyway, thank you very much. Thank you. And thank you, Hiranada, for asking questions, because your questions inspire us to do more and more and more and more and more. And you are really right when you say Leela, because Thakur also used to say, I do not, I toদের ওই শুকনো বেদান্ত আমি পছন্দ করি না. He was always for with devotion. So I hope we will discuss more and more of Leela of Sri Ramakrishna and his disciple, and of course of Jesus and all other great saints and incarnation who came into this earth for our benefit. Thank you. Special thank you, Hiranada, for inspiring us to continue this endeavor. No, thank you very much.
Just one quick word that today Maharaj spoke about that beautiful story of Madhusudan Dada. Swamiji told this same story, Madhusudan Dada, in the Thousand Island Park to his disciples. I don't remember, Maharaj can correct me, there are 12 or 13 disciples. Swamiji took them to Thousand Island Parks near Newark, and he told the same story. If you really hear that story and if you feel for it, then tears will come to your eyes when you hear that story. And if you can understand the meaning of that story and in the context of overall context of bhakti and everything. Thank you.
No, you see, there is a one important point we missed. Suppose you have to highlight the points. If you think, contemplate, you will get. Sri Ramakrishna, when Swamiji asked, have you seen God? He said, not only I have seen God, but I can make you see also. But you see, the same thing happens in Latu Maharaj's life also. All the disciples, I'm just citing because it was today we are celebrating that when he said that take bath in Ganges. The disciple was not willing to take bath. Then he took bath when he saw Shiva coming out of the Ganges. He had a vision of the God that whatever we talk about this Kashi, Vishwanath, and other, it is not a mere theory, it is for real. You see, that is how slowly, if you listen to all this, we will get tuned to this, and then we will feel the necessity of God in our lives. This much for today. It is already a long time. Thank you once again. Thank you, Nirmalda. So we can close the session with your words. The mic is yours.
Thank you.
Pranam Maharajji.
Thank you.
We will talk it after the informal
Thank you
session.
very much.
Now the formal session.
We will have an informal session of 5 minutes after I conclude.
Yes.
So everybody can say pranam and regards and their thoughts also one by one. But two things here. One thing is the record of this talk will be the treasured possession of all the Ramakrishna devotees and Ramakrishna followers. So it will be the property of all Ramakrishna followers all over the world, and even for the posterity, because for a book to read, to think, it takes time, but the facial expression, the emotional expression of Swami Chetanananda, the way he spoke, many things can be understood and realized by seeing his facial and emotional expression. How a guru looks after the sleeper of the disciple, and he's worried. So that shows the love for the disciple, and disciples' immense love for the guru. And without that faith, as Chetananandaji was mentioning, nothing is possible. So we need to have abundance of faith. And my second thing I want to tell Dipali, my second thing, I wanted to remind you about our Sunday's lecture by Sivakantananda of Ramakrishna Mission, Mysuru, Karnataka, India. A very, very important topic.
স্বামীজি আমার প্রণাম নেবেন, আমি দীপালি ব্যানার্জি নাগপুর থেকে বলছি।
আমরা এখনই এন্ড করছি, আপনি বাস 1 মিনিট এন্ড করছি, তখন we'll have informal session, so you can say your greetings. So our next lecture will be at 3:00 p.m. India time, which will be 5:30 p.m. Philippine, Hong Kong, and Singapore time. So now I am closing the formal part of the discussion to proceed towards the informal part, which will be for 5 to 10 minutes. So please give me silence for 30 seconds. I'll come back to you within 30 seconds.